do you want to see where my Yarn No by Year project that I have been undergoing for 3 years now has led me to? I am changing the focus on the name of the project for this year. It's going to be my Yarn Mindful by Year for 2025 because I think it never really was a no-buy. So I'm adjusting the regulations and I'm adjusting the name. And this is what we are going to be talking about today. So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting life, my knitting adventures, and all the different projects I have around this craft of mine and that unites us together on this small channel. My name is Isabelle. I am in Normandy, in a very gloomy, windy Normandy, and we had much rain the past few days. Today we did not have any rain, but it's going to come back again. So I am wearing comforting knits, and I guess that's one of our advantages. And so today it's going to be a video about my Yarn Mindful by project for 2025. I'm shifting a bit the focus, the name, the regulations and the rules that I am going to be using. So if this is of any interest to you, please stay tuned. So first, as per usual, what am I wearing? It is cold, it is winter time, it's January 2025 in Normandy. It's not as cold as what some of you are experiencing, I know, and I know it's when it's between -5 and +5 degrees in Normandy, we are all freezing. And as I am really freezing today, I am wearing my Scandinavian type sweater. I think Scandinavian style sweater, by Catherine Johnston. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I will, as usual, link everything down below. It's a bottom-up sweater, so you need the sleeves, the body, you join, and you need the yoke. There is color work at the bottom of the sweater, and the sleeves were short sleeves. So I just made my own thing to make it with long sleeves. I knit it in the beginning of 2021, January and February 2021. And I knit it with Cyrano from Dererum Natura, Cyrano, the Dererum Natura. And Cyrano is the big brother of Ulysses that I've already been using, and of Gilead maybe, the one that I'm using right now. So it's a bigger yarn. You knit it at a bigger gauge, and the darker one is Fusain. It's a dark gray. The lighter brown is Poivre et Sel. So it's a light brown, and the white one, I haven't said it in my Ravelry page, it's some kind of leftover of a camel yarn from Pingouin. I'm not sure it's still existing under that name. And I made a sweater with that camel yarn, and here it's okay. The sweater is peeling like crazy. The yarn was not of a very good quality, but here it's okay. So this sweater, you have to be aware that at some points you do have 3 colors to manage. But other than that, it's a very easy sweater to be making, very warm. I love Cyrano. I love all of Dererum Natura's yarn. And I'm using a small bandana. You have seen these many times. I have 2 of them. And this one is in Romney yarn by Atelier Purtscher, because the cashmere one is a bit more creamy, and this one is a bit more of a colder brown, and I think it fits the overall sweater a bit better. So perfect outfit for a very cold and windy day. Okay, my yarn what used to be my yarn no buy year and what is now my yarn mindful buy year for 2025. I decided to change the name. It just occurred to me when I was doing the last roundup of 2024 that was published at the beginning of 2025, a couple of weeks ago, because it really never really was a no-buy. I just called it a no-buy year because that's what people call this type of projects on the internet. But it was much more, it was a no-buy in my head. To start with, in my mind, I wanted to be focusing on a no-buy, and I really knew I could not do a very strict no-buy. So this is why, from the beginning, I had some regulations, and I had some rules, I had some guidelines, and my first year was, if you follow the guidelines, the year will be successful. That is, buy yarn only in person and stuff like that. The first year was okay because when I did not buy yarn online, I did not add to cart and buy and add to cart and buy and kind of, forget what I was really doing because it was all virtual until the boxes showed up at the door of my house, at my doorstep. What I did it was okay. I did not buy yarn online. I only bought yarn in person. I kind of overbought when I was in the Pyrenees to buy some mohair and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. What I did was I overbought digital patterns. I bought for over 200 euros of digital patterns, if I recall correctly. Most of them, I've knit some of them, but most of them are still in my library, waiting to be casted on and waited to be knit with the yarn I had decided I was going to use with these patterns. So my project evolved, and we are going to have a look at what my Ravelry bundle for digital pattern is at the beginning of 2025, because I've already placed a lot of patterns there. I was kind of craving patterns, and my bundle of I want to make, it's called want to make, and it's at the end of the bundles list because it's with a W, and I will link it down below. I will also link the want to make, the previous bundles that I made. It helps me place patterns there so that they do not fall at the bottom of my Ravelry favorites. And this is why I was buying these patterns before, so that I don't forget about them, so that I don't lose them. And the bundle completely fits that need. That means when I want a pattern, I want to make a pattern, I want to buy the pattern, I place it in the bundle, if it's in Ravelry, of course, and then I wait. And what that second year has taught me is if I wait long enough, sometimes I go back to my bundles and I say, why was that pattern there? Why did I want to make with the pattern? Why did I want to cast it on? And many times I just remove them from the bundle. They remain in my favorites, but I just remove them from the bundle because I have completely forgotten why I bought the patterns in the first place. Of course, patterns can disappear. So if you don't buy them, they can disappear from the internet. They can disappear from the website if they are not on Ravelry. They can disappear from Ravelry. They can go from free one to paid for, etc., etc. Don't drink into my glass, please. But there is always the new. In terms of patterns, there are many published every day. And there is always the new one, the new hyped one, the one that everybody is making. And the ones that were a couple months before are back into the shadow and go back into the Ravelry huge hole. So what that taught me is that if I wait and I curate my list, then it becomes a list of patterns I really want to be casting on. And then maybe I will go down that list, buy a pattern, and then make it. This is what happened with my Alary. Alary was for 2 years in my want to make bundle, and I casted it on, it was my Christmas cast on. So you see, Alary was not lost. I bought it the day before I cast it on, or maybe a couple days before, so that I can read, because I was going to my mother's and I wanted to have everything, arranged, and not have to wonder and think, oh, maybe I forgot this and that or that. But you see, it was for 2 years or a year and a half in my Ravelry bundles. It carried over from the year before to 2024, and I cast it on Christmas 2024. I bought it just before I casted it on. When I was certain I had the yarn, when I was certain I was going to cast it on, because I had decided it's going to be my Christmas cast on. So you see, now I'm not spending as much money on digital patterns, and most of all, I'm not spending that money on patterns that remain in my queue or somewhere on Ravelry and I don't cast them on. Another thing I want to add, and I say that every time, and I kind of forgot to say it at the beginning, it never was a question of money for me. I never spent money I did not have. Never. So I was not in danger. I was eating and, taking care of my house and my kids and stuff like that. So I never spent money I could not spend. But I think it was an unhealthy way of spending money, to kind of fulfill, to kind of fill some kind of gap, of internal gap, or internal void that is into myself, and that I cannot fill with items that I buy, patterns or yarn or clothes or whatever. I cannot fill that void with buying stuff. And it's my way to dig into that idea. I haven't been really seriously going around that idea with someone to kind of see in more details why I want to accumulate, why I am afraid to lose, why I am afraid not to have enough to eat, why I do it more than what I need because I'm afraid I won't have enough to eat. All of these questions materialized in a way of buying a lot of yarn, a lot of patterns, because also what you see on the internet and on YouTube in particular is people who live in yarn stores. If they are happy with that, good for them. Good for them, they do them and you do you. If you are happy with a huge stash and you kind of pet it from time to time and it comforts you, good for you. But it was not comforting me, and at some point my stash was outgrowing the space I could allocate to the yarn, and this is where the click went. It was when it outgrew the space I could have for yarn, when the package arrived and I was thinking, what's in there? I don't even recall what I bought. I had bought a huge Holzgarn haul with cones and skins and things. Okay, they are going to stop that colorway. I need to buy it now so that I can still have it. But, a Mediterranean blue is a famous color, I think. So Holzgarn is never going to be stopping making one. Maybe they are stopping to make that one and they make another one with another name. And this is exactly what happened. So, this was the click where what I was doing was kind of feeling awkward to me. And if it does feel awkward to you, maybe my little project can be of some help. What evolved last year is that I had kind of overbought books, but as I say, there is no such things as too many books. You can't have too many books. So, but buying books just for buying books that would accumulate also here and there, it's not healthy either. It's the same kind of process for me to be feeling that kind of void with buying yarn or books or patterns on the spot to have that kind of dopamine shot, feel better, and artificially feel better, but that nothing else changes in my life. And that means buying that item won't fill the void. So I sort of allowed me to buy 5 books per year because, and I was thinking, if I want to buy more than 5 books, and if those are mindful buyings, because at some point there are many books that are published and I want them, and some of them do go out of print and then you can't have them any longer. I have books you can't buy as books any longer. Sometimes you can get the patterns as digital ones and sometimes not. Pom stopped making the magazines, so you can't have the books any longer. You can buy the ebook, but you cannot buy the books any longer. And I like the books. I like the touch. I like the smell. I like to browse through them whenever I want and not on a screen. So I allowed myself to buy 5 books per year. I did respect that. And I carried that over for this year to 5 books per year. And if I do buy more, and if it's a conscious buying, if it's a mindful buy, and if I can, articulate why I want more books than what I had foreseen or anticipated and stuff like that, I guess it could be okay. So this is why I'm now changing the aim of the project to more of a mindful buy rather than a no buy. That was really not a true no buy where I would go cold turkey and not buying anything and kind of report how I was doing on that. Because I don't think I was in a dangerous place. I was in an uncomfortable place. I may not have addressed all of the questions. I know. But for now, with this kind of regulations or guidelines, these little things I have in place for myself, I think that my craft is not overflowing in my life and it's not there to fill things that cannot be filled with items. And then I can knit whatever I like with yarn I like, and that completely is fitting me completely right now. So we are going to go through what I've bought so far for the months of January. I've bought quite a bit of things, but what happened is that some items were back ordered when I wanted to order them at the end of last year, because I had not decided on a present for myself for my successful year, no-buy year. And some of you had said, you had a very rough year. I had, some health issues and stuff like that. And you deserve to be maybe buying something nice for you. So I decided to buy sets of DPNs, of Xiaogu DPNs. I'm going to go get them and to show them to you and tell you how much I've spent. And they were back ordered, so I did buy them during the months of January. I did do one impulse buying, and I'm going to show it to you. It's a book, so it's going to be one of the 5 that I can buy this year. And I bought some yarn that you have seen already, but I'm going to show it also to you once again. I bought some yarn for the socks in the little local yarn shop that has opened in Caen. So I'm going to be talking about all of the numbers for you right now. Okay, so I'm going to get my spreadsheet and I'm going to be talking about what I've bought so far in January. I did spend quite a bit of money in January. Anyway, so the first thing was I did buy DPNs, and as I was buying DPNs on the website, I did get some stitch markers. I like stitch markers, and I did not have enough very small ones for the sock knitting because I was having 2 socks on the go and I did not have enough small stitch markers. And anyway, I did get a bit more than what I really need, but I figured I could always give some away. and to you if we ever, exchange things. So I'm keeping for now my DPNs in the little Bichebuche bag that came with the book, that the Tokyo First book that one of my sons bought for Christmas for me. I need to find some kind of way to store all of these needles, and I'm kind of sorry for the crackling. And I bought the DPNs because the Xiaogu DPNs, so that they have exactly the same diameter as my Xiaogu needles. Because when I knit sleeves on sweaters, I can't do the traveling magic loop. I don't like the magic loop. Call me crazy and call me whatever. I just don't like. I prefer DPNs, and the DPNs I had were very cheapy ones. And the diameter was not reliable. It was not the same as the Xiaogu ones, so I would not be able to knit my sleeves with DPNs. So I did get kind of a large selection to be able to knit sweaters, and I was thinking I need a few ones of a lower size if I want to be making some kind of other t-shirts or sweaters that are with finer needles. So I guess it goes from 5.5, I think I have 6 millimeters too, yes. It goes, the smallest ones are 375, then 4 millimeters, which is here. So 375, 4 millimeters, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and 6 millimeters. So 6 sets of Xiaogu DPNs, 20 centimeter DPNs that are better to be knitting sweater sleeves in the sizes that I usually knit my sweaters with. If I need another one, I will. If I buy another time from Haskell, which is the website I got them, it's a French website, I will place the ones under 3.75 millimeters. I will get some 3.25s, because if I'm knitting some lighter cotton or lighter yarn for t-shirts, I'm going to be needing these. I'm not going to be showing you the stitch markers, because there are regular stitch markers, small ones, colorful ones in metals. You can find any stitch markers that you like and whatever. So I did that in 2 orders, because the first time I did get 3 of them, and the 3 other ones were still back ordered. So I did 2 orders. One was 63 euros and 808 cents, and the other one was 53 euros and 56 cents. So that's 116 something euros, or 116 and 17 euros, just in 6 sets of DPNs. I know Xiaogu are expensive. I did use them and I love them. I use them to knit the Maya hat, which is here just next to me, because it was very, very cold today and I was wearing it with my coat and with that sweater, and it's not the same brown, but I don't care. I don't care, because Fusain is more of a gray than a brown, but it's okay. I like it. I love the pom-pom. So I did knit the Maya hat with DPNs, and I was extremely happy with that. So I'm happy with what I bought. It's kind of part of a reward that I did not think about soon enough to get them before the end of the year. And then when I kind of clicked and said, okay, I'm going to get DPNs, Xiaogu DPNs, they were out of stock. So I did have to wait until now to get them. And now they are into my life and I'm very happy. Next, I did buy 2 skeins of Filcolana, the ones in my local yarn shop, the ones to be knitting the socks, and I did spend, I just had a look, 11 euros and 40 cents. And these are the ones I've already talked about. It's Arwetta by Phil Colana to be knitting socks. So it's $3.79 and it's also $2.45 for the burgundy one. And most of you said, okay, with the Life in the Long Grass, knit it with the burgundy one. And one of you had a nice idea to make just one row on top of the sock with the yellow one to kind of recall. Maybe you did not say that, but that would remind me of this story where we had, you know, some kind of a thinking all together, brain thinking all together, and maybe make one row, my cast on row with the yellow, and maybe the rest of the Kura sock the way the pattern is with the burgundy and the pewter from Phil Colana. So from Life in the Long Grass, sorry. So Phil Colana is very inexpensive. So 11 euros and 40 cents for two skeins. You know, it's very, very inexpensive. The next item that I bought, if you may, my dear cat, was an impulse buying. I think it came into suggestions in Amazon. I should not say that. I know. Considering the way the world is now, I should not say that. But that's the plain truth. I'm very sorry. I will do better. And I'm even considering making one little video about, you know, my socials and social networks and stuff like that and what I'm going to be doing, because I think it's a very important question. Anyway, it was before, I'm not sure, it was at the beginning of January. It came into my feeds and I said, what is that? So that book was not extremely expensive. It was 28 euros and 63 cents. A bit expensive. It's Dimensional Tuck Knitting, an innovative technique for creating surface designs by Tracy Purtscher. I will link down below the numbers, the ISBN and stuff like that, so that you can find it again if you want it. I'm going to show you the ISBN, it's right here, but I will write it down below. Look at that. These are not cables. This is dimensional tuck knitting. I had never heard of that. Ever. I did not know it existed. The principle is that you go get some stitches down below on the back side, and it kind of shrinks that area, and that's the way it looks in 3 dimensions. And you know that I like 3-dimensional knitting. I did knit a call by Olga Buraya Kefelian. I have many patterns in my library by her. That's part of the ones that I overbought at some point and that I have not knit. I still haven't knit. Look at these mittens. How fun is that? And you do not do any cables. So there's a call. Look at that. Look at that. How fun. That texture is just incredible. And maybe you know all about it, and I'm the one that has been living under a rock and did not know about it. There is that hat too. I mean, I don't quite like the, very, very slouchy hats in the back, but I guess at some point you can stop knitting and it just does what you want. This one, not sure. Within Tanja, not sure. It's quite sure. But maybe I will have to think about a blanket. That's not... I don't want to be making a blanket over several years, because from what I've seen, it looks like it would take me several years. And here is the pattern from the front. A very nice sweater and incredible. I would go with long sleeves, I guess, but incredible. This pattern is without any cabling. So I got it because I did want to know more about it, and You can tell me, but you could have looked around and maybe watched some videos and maybe decide it's not for you because at some point you would not like the technique. Not at all. It was an instant buy, not a mindful buy. So I guess it's a good thing that I'm saying that now, but on the moment it was, I want it and I want it now. And these English books, to my excuse, these English books, it's very difficult to get in France. And unfortunately, Amazon is one of the only places that I can get them easily. So I promise I will go through finding places that are not maybe Amazon to be able to find a way to buy English books, because my local bookstores do not carry that and can't order them. I've already asked on several occasions. They can't order them, or the ones that I was looking for. So maybe it has changed now. And I will maybe have to go back and look again if they are able to be ordering these books for me. And I may have to do that and not go through the evil. But anyway, that was one of an impulse buy. I know it's not good, but that's the way it is. So these are all the things I bought this month of January. That's a lot. It's 156 euros and 67 cents. So it's a lot. It's much more for the first month than the average of what I bought for the whole last year per month. So I need to be good. I need to stop buying stuff. I guess I could, I can take out the prices of the needles in my head, but physically they were bought in January because it's something I had decided before and they were just back ordered, but such is life. It will happen other times. So I need to think about that. And I need to be a bit more mindful when I want to buy stuff. So there is still the mohair. I haven't had any news from the lady from Cotentin. I'm gonna contact her again, and if she says she can have it or can't have it now or whatever, I will buy some other mohair some places. My local yarn shop has knitting for Olive. I can buy from Lang, I know. I can buy from Bichebuche. I know they also have nice mohair. There also is nice mohair in Fonty. So we'll see what I'll do. I will first contact the lady from Cotentin who makes mohair, and if she can't have it, I will buy it. But I just casted on another sweater, so it's not like I have no project on my needles. So it can wait, but I want to be knitting the Nutiden before it gets too warm. And if I do knit it when it gets too warm, so be it. Okay, so this is what I have bought. I will make a screen recording now about my Ravelry bundle for the Want to Make 2025 and how I manage my digital patterns, which are in the bundle right now and why they are there. So we are going to be having a look at my Want to Make 2025 pattern bundle. I placed there the patterns that I want to be making in 2025. There is no obligation for me to knit those patterns, but this bundle has several different important roles. First one is prevent me from buying a pattern on the fly, because on the go, right away, because I want to knit it and this is all I want to be doing right now, because I've learned my lessons. I have many digital patterns I've bought that are still waiting for me to cast them on. So this is not working. And it helps me having these patterns in a special bundle and not very far away from my attention, from my consciousness, so that I can go back there and decide whether I want to cast one of them or not. There are several patterns I will not be talking about because we have already been talking about, and some of them come from my Want to Buy 2024 from last year and maybe some from the year before. So these are the Kura socks and the Droid socks that we have been talking about, and you know why I want to make them, and we have been discussing a lot about the Kura socks. So the pattern is here for me not to forget. We are not going to be talking about Dazzler that I've been casting on, unraveling and casting on again. So I'm on my second time I'm casting it on, and I will talk about Dazzler later in another video for you. And I am not going to be talking about the sweaters that are in the Tokyo Tourist book. I've already talked about that book, so muscle is there. I said it was the first pattern I wanted to be making. And Garden Life and Denki are also, after, much pondering, patterns that I want to be making. I also won't be talking about the patterns that are in Len Magazine 23, I think, number 23, the end of last year, that where Dazzler is, but there are many patterns that I want to be making: Unfold, Snowfield, Cora, Cinnamon Twist. We've already been talking about them. So the only one from Len Magazine number 23 that I will be talking about is Climbing Higher. It's a pair of socks, and I did not talk about it last time. So, and after a while, I did have a closer look about this little sock pattern, and I like it a lot. There is one pattern also that I was very interested in the contrast book by Meyu Kallio. I recalled about my love for this pattern when I looked for the hat, and I did make the Maya hat from this book. It's Reflections. So I will be talking about Reflections at the same time I will be talking about the Vabeling sweater, because they kind of fit the same purpose to me, the same look, and I have my preference goes to Sovabeline. So, but Reflection is there because you may be interested into it, and you may have the book, and it's a very nice pattern. So we are going to be talking about, so there are several calls and several hooded calls, and it's quite a popular item right now. So we're going to be talking about these, the socks, a t-shirt, we are going to be talking about a cardigan and two sweaters, and so the calls. So this is what we are going to be talking about for today in this little segment. So first, the call Purtscher by Sweet Knit. It's in French. If you like, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. If you like the idea and you don't understand the instructions, maybe I'm going ahead of myself right now because I have not been looking at the instructions, but I may be able to help you. What I like about this call, it's a hood too. You can place part of it on top of your head, and you have the part that is a call that has some kind of little stitches that remind you of the hooded part. And what I like, and there is another one like that in the bundle, is that the hooded part has a different color from the call part, and I like this idea very, very much. You see it here in dark blue and lighter blue. Here you have it in gray and yellow, and you have it here in more earthy tones, in maybe dark brown and light brown kind of colors. And you have the construction here, and you see you have the hooded part on top of the call part, and on the call part you can choose or not to make the little stitch motif with the same color as the part that is going to be going on top of the head. So it may even be duplicate stitches. I'm not quite sure. I haven't read the pattern. But I liked this idea very much. It's a free pattern. I know some of you speak French, so you can have a look for yourself, and maybe if you need some help, I can help you. The second one, which is a same idea, it's a hood. It's also a free pattern. It's in English this time. It's Portland Hoodie Call by Adrian Key. And this also, you can have the call part in a different color from the hood part. You have it here with two colors. Here it's the same color, and it's the same idea. A hood, so with ties that you can, I guess, tighten around your head. A hood in a different color from the call, and then, the color combination. The sky is your limit. And your taste and what you like is your limit. And this one is also a free pattern. It's a bulky yarn with 6mm needles, so it should be knitting quite quickly. There is another call which is not a hood. It's a call which is the Masha call by Barbara Swafchak. It's in English. Aran weight and 5mm needles. So, once again, it's going to knit up quite quickly with leftovers. And it's shown here with a shirt. But what I think is interesting is if you have leftovers, and I do, from a sweater is knit a turtleneck, and a sweater that has no turtleneck is knit a turtleneck that goes with it. And this one fits the purpose quite perfectly. It's a little wider on the shoulder, a little tighter on the neck. It's made with ribbon that is going to be, fitting around the neck quite perfectly and going over your head quite easily. It has nice cables in the front, on the side, and maybe in the back. I haven't looked at the pattern, so maybe. And it's quite a very convenient piece. And this one, I have it in my library, and I see it's a pet faux pattern. I am sure, December 2024, I am sure it was part of an offer that I saw with the code that the designer would give. And I kind of think I did not talk about that specific pattern in my community tab on YouTube because I was not sure it would be of some interest to you. Thing is, now I kind of regret I haven't done it, because if you are interested and I'm talking about it, you can get it. And now you need to tell me, would you want me to tell you about every time I get a pattern for free with a code or a time offer that it's free for 24 hours or something like that? Every time, or only as I've been doing up to now, the one that I think may be of interest to you? Because if you are interested into that call, it's too late and you can't have it. So maybe the offer will come back later on, but please tell me if you, because I don't want to spam you. But please tell me if you want me to post every time there is an offer or there is a code or a limited time offer that is of some interest to me, and I get the pattern. Anyway, Masha call, I'm sure you can find some that are free, but the idea is this one. Knit a turtleneck for a sweater that doesn't have a turtleneck. Okay, so now we can move to the socks. So the ones from Land Magazine number 23, Climbing Higher by Tess van de Kolk. And what I liked about these ones is first that the little motif is all around the leg and on top of the foot. You may recall that I was a bit sad that Bear Mountain did not have the motif all around the foot. Maybe it was because it would not have been comfortable or something. Okay. But I kind of regret it was not all around. So you have some kind of a cable on the sides and the little motif that looks very easy to be made. And I had a look and it's very easy on the top of the foot and on the leg. So I like that. Heel flap and gusset, and I think it's my preferred heel. And in addition to the climbing higher socks that you have to pay for to get, you have to buy the book, and maybe at some point it will be available by itself. You have the damask socks by Amanda Morse. Amanda publishes a lot of free patterns on her website or her blog. And what I liked about the damask socks is that if you look a bit quickly from afar, it does remind me of the pattern on the Bear Mountain. And this pattern, I like a lot the way it looks. I like the crisscross, so this is not at all done with the same type of stitch motif, not at all. But from afar, and you don't look at socks very closely, from afar you have the same kind of idea of this kind of crisscross. It reminds me of the Bear Mountain pattern. It's not at all the Bear Mountain pattern, please don't get me wrong. Because Bear Mountain has cables and wrap stitches and stuff like that. Here, not at all. It's just knits and purls, if I recall correctly. I looked at the pattern. And the damask stitch motif is something that is known. You have a hat also that you can knit with that same kind of stitch. And I think it would be a very easy knit. If I want to relax, if I don't have a too busy kind of yarn, I want to relax and not, maybe with the leftovers and stuff like that, it could be a very good idea. The next one is much bolder. The next one is Carousel by Louise Robert, and it's in English, Finnish, and French. It's also for free. It's a very old pattern, March 2012. I'm not sure where I did find those. I don't recall at all how I found that. But what I really, really like is, and I guess I was looking for something like that. I'm not sure which kind of keywords I did use. You see, you are knitting around your leg. I don't recall which kind of heel there is. And then around the foot, and then you finish here. So, if you have a very busy, variegated yarn, you can prevent, I think, pulling from making, big parts that are of the same color. And if the pulling, depending on how the pulling is on the sock, you can get stripes or sort of stripes, but not very sure. In that way, you have the pulling that is organized on a small section that goes around, and then you can arrange with the pulling. This is what I kind of thought. So this is some kind of self-striping, I think. I would have to try if my idea works. So it's kind of a bullseye or something like that here. I guess I would have to follow the pattern for the heel, because the way the sock is knit, it's a very different way from what we are used to. So maybe there is a heel here, or it may be just a short row heel. Maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, the pattern is free. You can have a look for yourself. This is quite of an idea. You pick up stitches and you knit. This is quite of an idea. So do I like the look of them? I'm not quite sure. And I would have to be trying to be knitting a bit of my very variegated yarn on the number of stitches and see what it does. But I kind of was happy with this find, because it's a funny sock in a way. It's a very funny sock. And now the two sweaters, Reflection by Meyu Kallio, and it's in her contrast book, and Paulin by Jessica Gore. One of you so generously bought the pattern for me and also gave me the wool, Lana Rara Swiss wool. I do have enough to make a sweater, maybe not with long sleeves as you said, or maybe 3/4 length or something like that. And what is very beautiful about the Paulin sweater is, of course, the front cables that you can find also, that you can see also in Reflections. very different cables, but the same idea. Cables in the front and no cables in the back. The Sovabeline has no cables in the back. What I like about the Sovabeline is that it is some kind of a raglan, or maybe it's a pure raglan. Reflection looks like drop sleeves to me. You can't see it. I need to go check the pattern, but looks like drop sleeves to me, and I don't like the fit of drop sleeves. First, because you end up with a lot of fabric under your arm, and then because the stitches on the shoulder have a lot of tension on them and get quite elongated sometimes. So, two drawbacks against Reflections and two good points for Sovabeline. But I guess, at first, before I had Sovabeline, I was thinking I can arrange to make some kind of a raglan sleeve with the pattern of Reflection. So anyway, I have Sovabeline now. It was a present from you for Christmas, I think I recall. And it's a very, very, very beautiful pattern, and I think I will make that one over Reflection. But Reflection is in my pattern books, so if you do have it too, maybe you can be interested into it. The last one I'm going to be talking about today is Fugel. I'm not going to. I'm butchering that name, by Trina Knitwear. And this one is in English and many other languages. So you have French and all the North European languages. And this little t-shirt, so it's a free pattern also, I think. Yeah, it's a free pattern by Phil Colana. What I like a lot about this little t-shirt is first the neckline and the bottom line, the bottom of the sleeves, and is the bottom of the sweater the same? Yes. The cuff for the sleeves and the neckline and the bottom of the sweater. You have here rolling stockinette, and you know how much I do not like when stockinette rolls. That is stopped by a portion of ribbing, and I quite like the look of it. Where is it? Okay, I quite like the look of it here, how the rolling is stopped by the ribbing, but it makes a very clean outline on the edges. I quite like this. So that's what I like. The other thing that I like is the type of saddle shoulder and balloon sleeves. I think saddle shoulder fit me much better than any other type of sleeves. And the little puffy sleeves here, I've unraveled already two sweaters because the sleeves were too puffy and not fitting under my coat. But for a t-shirt, I guess you can have little puffy sleeves because you won't have much on top of a t-shirt if it's a warmer day. One thing that I am quite sure I won't do is use that kind of yarn combination, because if I recall, it's a combination of alpaca and silk mohair, and I don't understand why you would need a t-shirt with that kind of silk mohair or fluffy combination that would be quite warm. I have some yarn from Holzgarn that I can hold double or even more to get gauge, because it's 19 stitches with 4 and 5 millimeter needles, so it's quite a bigger gauge. So maybe I need to hold 3 yarns together, 3 strands together, or maybe not, maybe 2 is enough, or I will make some calculation. But the combination of the neckline and the sleeves and the bottom, of the saddle shoulder, of the little puffy sleeve, I really, really like. It's just published. You see it, January 2025. I just saw it. And I really like the shape of the sweater. Of course, I would have to make it not that much tight. Does it say about the ease? Not that I see right now, but the pattern is free, you can have a look. So I guess I would knit it with a much more ease on the bust and on the body. And the sleeves are already quite large, quite big, so that would be good. Okay, so there you have it. A first look at my want to make 2025 bundle on Ravelry. It is a way for me not to buy the patterns. I place them there so that I can not lose them at the bottom of my favorites, still have them in front of my eyes and close to my mind if I want to have a look, and not lose them, and buy them only when I am ready to cast on, and or pull them out if I already have them in my library. So that may also be an idea for you. So okay, there you have it. How my project is going to be for the next few months, for the next year, and how I have been doing for the months of January. I will come back for regular check-ins as I have been using, and I will link the playlists down below where I have been collecting all of these videos on that subject. It can be of some inspiration for you. And you have already said in the comments down below that it was of some inspiration for you too. So maybe this can be of some help. Maybe you can take some ideas from what I am doing. Maybe, be more mindful about what we are doing is very important, and it can help us to buy things that we need, that we like, but not to overbuy and be in that overconsumption, in that way to overbuy and buy and buy and buy and accumulate. For what? For what? To fill my drawers or your drawers or boxes, and to have piles and piles and piles of yarn, or have piles and piles of digital patterns that are filling your digital space and that you are not knitting from. So maybe we have to think about what we are doing, be more mindful about what we are doing, and buy what we need. We don't need to be ashamed of buying things when we can. Buy what we need and things that we like, not just because they are hyped, not just because it's the new and the new and the new, and you see someone do this and you want to do the same. If this is part of a normal process, I also am very influenced by other people. That's not the question of doing what other people do. It's just accumulating and not being able to knit everything that other people do, because there are thousands of people around you and you are all by yourself with that many hours per day or minutes per day that you can dedicate to knitting. It's just physically impossible that you knit as much as everybody else. So that's why we need to be mindful and conscious about what we buy, what we can knit. Buy the yarn and the pattern on the spot. Maybe have a set of regulations like this. I tend to overbuy books. You see, the dimensional tuck knitting is the perfect example. I saw it, I bought it on the spot. Add to cart, buy, pay, and that was it. So after I've done it, and I said, no, you could have looked around and see if it was something for you or not. I'm kind of happy I have it anyway. But, we need to be more mindful about what we are doing. In particular, in these very, very, very strange world we are living in, very strange times we are living in. You know what I'm talking about. We have been, skimming over the discussion in the comment down below, and I don't want to bring these kind of discussions, really, not necessarily. But we are living very strange times that I never thought would happen, or would happen again. What did we learn? And I hope that your knitting is giving you comfort. that mindfully placing joy and happiness into your knitting contributes to bring more joy and happiness inside of you, to build it up in you, so that you can feel overall more joy and happiness into your life. And if you cannot just do it for yourself, do it for other people. Think of other people. Some people around here are sick, need some kind of good vibes and happy little stitches. Do it for them. Just send them out to the world, because the more you give, the more you receive. That I know. And I do hope that you can carry on a project like that, where will be making you more happy. I thank you a lot for being here with me. I will send out my little stitches over to you, and I will see you next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goodbye. So it's going to be my year of brother of. So All's Gone is never going to be. I think my 8 cents, and the other one was 53 euros and 70 and 7 a lot, because it's 176 euros. There is still the mohair that I had no news from the lady from Normandy. Of patterns, or digital patterns, that are filling your